And I told her I don't care if he is her husband. Right now,
It's time to rise from the grave, pour yourself a cup, and enjoy the coffee crypt.
And a very special thank you to our Patreon subscribers.
Good morning, happy Sunday, and welcome back to the Coffee Crypt. Steve here, and as always, joined by my friend Norin.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Another coffee crypt. Time to talk some Final Destination. I'm excited.
I've held off on this trailer. I watched. Well, did you see the teaser trailer that they dropped first, like the one death scene?
No, I skipped that too. So yeah, this will be my first experience with anything of watching the trailers at all.
I like the vibe of the teaser, so I'm curious, how the full trailer plays out. I mean, I know we're gonna get our first look at Tony Todd's final performance.
Yep.
He passed away, so that'll be special for horror fans and Tony Todd fans. And but yeah, and then we got some Buffy news to break down and talk about. So without much ado, I'm gonna pop on and let's see. I'm gonna boop Final Destination.
I know I'm excited for this one. I hope they bring it home with a really good one.
I know. Well, I was very pleasantly surprised with the fifth one.
Yeah.
But we'll talk. We'll get into it as we after it. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
Drinks all around. Family, you don't get to pick the one you get. Just gotta love the one you got.
I always knew this day would come.
I got it.
I don't think you got it.
I held him off for years.
Tally, get up here.
He's a relentless son of a bitch. Won't stop till he finishes the job. Death is coming for our family.
I said,
Grandma, what's happening to us?
Years ago, I had a premonition that started it all. I saw what death was about to do. I saved a lot of lives that night.
Everyone needs to get off the dance floor!
Lives that were never meant to be saved. But death doesn't like it when you mess with his plans. This book, it will show you everything you need to know to keep our family safe.
It all started with Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist. What?
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
maybe Death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.
Good luck.
Lots to unpack there.
Yeah, the great Tony Todd. We miss him.
Yeah, I enjoyed this sort of setup here. The
the family like kind of grilling hangout setup with the glass. That was cool.
Well, there's a lot of throwbacks to the other movies, right? Because this is very Final Destination 2. You get the barbecue in the back. Then you get sort of this, I know you see the log truck at one point. There's like...
I had a premonition that started death was about to do.
I think it's cool that she has...
So I like that the first one takes place, or this first premonition's like the 60s, it looks like. Which is cool. You know, we haven't really done that. Well, I know I think the books might have done something like that. I don't know. Have you read any of the books?
No, I haven't read the books, yeah.
they are out of print. I mean, you can kind of find like, I think you can find them on the Internet Archives, which I'm totally, if something's out of print and you can't buy it, I'm like totally like not against. If you can find it online, just get it, because there's no way to, there's no way to buy it and support the creators anymore, But there was a point where you saw like the log truck.
Saved a lot of lives that night.
Lord!
Lives that were never meant to be saved.
You need to know to keep our family safe.
Yeah, so there's the plane and the
All
truck and the
started with
book.
Grandma. Death is
Yeah.
coming for us
So
because we were never
she is
supposed to
probably,
exist.
I'm guessing, the original person who ever had a premonition. Is that, if that's what we're kind of going off of, it feels like her grandma is going to be the first character ever in this franchise that ever had maybe a premonition that kind of sparked everybody else's kind of premonitions for the other Final Destination films.
I kind of like that. Like if they're all sort of connected to that one incident.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a cool way how you tie it all together. Rather than sort of it just being a bunch of, I mean, you could do it where it's a bunch of random people get the visions and it just sort of sets it off and you can make it these isolated incidents. But I sort of like the idea that it started from a singular incident. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I like that too, because it's kind of like you said, like the patient zero thing, which is something that I'm always fascinated when it comes to like virus type movies. This is kind of the same aspect where we have the grandma who she said she saved many lives that day. So any of those lives that she saved during that party, they could have intersected or been related to any of the other characters, like Devon Sawa's character or Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character. So that could be why their characters had the visions, is because none of them were supposed to exist either,
Yeah, we don't really get a good look at. Oh yeah, you see the log truck was like right there. Can't really pause it. Yeah, the log's going by.
Yeah, and then they kind of redid that death scene. It looked like they were gonna maybe either hint at it or like kind of tease us with the same death scene as like the kids backing up into the street, kind of like denying all the facts.
Terry, was that her name?
Yeah, she gets it when she's like sick of them fighting and she just steps into the street and gets it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fun. It doesn't look hokey. I mean, they're inherently a little cheesy, the Final Destination movies, no matter what. Yeah. But it doesn't feel as cartoonish as, say, like the fourth one, right?
No, this
this feels like it's taking itself just serious enough where it's like, okay, they mean business, but they're still going to have fun with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then like I said, that's kind of cool because we'll get probably technically almost like two opening scenes, kind of, because we'll get the one with the daughter and everything, or the granddaughter, and then when the grandma tells her the story, we're gonna get to see her vision. So we're gonna get kind of 2 in 1 this time. So it's gonna be kind of interesting.
Yeah, two big sort of set pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the barbecue is sort of because I didn't really see other. So we have like the big almost like the Seattle Tower, right? Or like the Stratosphere in Vegas, right? One of those kinds of things. I didn't see another big set piece. Not that I noticed.
Yeah, not as far as I noticed. So, like, if there is any other one, it'd be like said the granddaughter. Like, if that's her vision, the party. Like, if she has some kind of vision where she sees all that stuff happen first, and then kind of goes off on the family and stuff like that. But we'll kind of have to see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they'll explain sort of why everyone gets the visions, right? If there's sort of a force that kind of works against death in a way.
Yeah.
Almost like a yin to the yang.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Because Tony Todd, I mean, and I also wonder if we'll get a real deep, explanation as far as Tony Todd's, like maybe maybe they DH him or they recast a younger version and maybe he's there in the 60s and something else, maybe I could see them doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, because his character is like, he's been tied into just about everyone. So like, he's either the cornerstone of something, you know what I mean? He's got to represent some kind of physical representation of something.
Yeah, I mean, and considering that this is his last film before he passed, like, not that they could have known that. Um, you know, that's sort of, I guess, the whole point of the franchise too, is like you can't know those things, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of the point that they are making. But I hope that they're able to sort of give his character an interesting send off, or like just some depth, because he's in 1, 2. I know his voice is in 3. I don't think he's in 4. Is he in the 5th one?
I don't remember him being in the 5th one. I don't. So that one I'm not too sure either.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think so. Although no, he was in the 5th one. But because remember before they revealed that it was a prequel, I think we weren't quite sure. I think he does pop in, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken.
yeah, when it does tie in, because I remember it does tie into the first one. Yeah, when we get to the end part.
Yeah, they reveal the flip that that's a prequel, but I think Tony Todd does show up, because I remember thinking like, obviously he still knows that things are, because this whole time you're thinking it's a sequel, and he's telling them about like Death's done this before, and you're like, oh yeah, he's just talking about the first one, and then the flip is, oh no, this was so then so obviously it's happened way before. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if this is also just, I don't think they said this is going to be like the ending of it or not.
Yeah, I'm not too positive if they said this was the last one, because Final Destination is kind of one of those franchises that it it doesn't really have an age limit. Like you could kind of just keep going. You know what I mean? It doesn't tie itself to any specific character like a Tobin Bell or a Robert Englund or anything like that. So they can just keep going with these movies, because all they got to do is get a new cast and come up with a new story to tie it in or reboot it, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, here's the sort of the kicker, right? Is like, clearly what they're dealing with this movie is like, oh, okay, it's a much bigger scope, right? So they're sort of are kind of giving. I mean, I doubt that they're going to address every single person that branched off of that initial premonition, right? So we've sort of now have like a map of like, oh yeah, their family was at that thing, and
Yep.
right? And then that person had a vision, and that branched out. Like she kind of had like the murder board behind her with all the lines and like the family trees, and really curious to see how it,
Yeah, I want to see the grandma's book too. I want to see the book because that looked really cool. All the flashes that we got of that seemed like she had been tracking and following Death. Like, since she had that premonition, she's been kind of keeping tabs on what he's been doing, besides just with her family.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's interesting. I think it's a cool way to freshen it. I mean, I already thought that the fifth one took some fresh turns, not maybe necessarily with the mythology, but with the way that the characters interacted. Like, I think in the fifth one, they weren't like, I think it was the fifth one, that they were not immediately mad at the person for having the vision. They were like, "How did you know that? Thank you for saving us." Which was interesting. I remember that after all my recent rewatch of that, I was like, okay, so we didn't retread the like everyone thinks they're a witch kind of thing. And then taking death into their own hands by trying to kill each other, I thought was crazy. Like I thought, like character wise, they took some cool turns. Now I like to see that they're doing some like different stuff with the actual mythos of the story.
Yeah, this one definitely feels like it's scope wise, it feels like it's going to be the biggest one, because we've had other ones tie into each other, but this one, like I said, seems like it's going to be, like I said, we're going back to patient zero. We're going back to the origins of how this is going to eventually just affect everyone, kind of thing, create the domino effect.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, death wise too. I mean, I saw some cool things with like the turnstile doors, which I don't think we've seen that yet.
Not that I know of. Yeah,
we've had elevator doors, we've had glass window pane things, but I don't think we've had the turnstile doors. So that was cool to see.
The lawnmower thing reminded me of Frankenhooker, though. That reminded me of Frankenhooker.
Oh, but also Sinister.
Yeah.
So that was a little more serious than what Frankenhooker.
Yeah, Frankenhooker kind of just reminded me, because that was a party too. I think it was like a birthday party or something that was happening, or something.
Oh, yeah.
It was some kind of party and everything, and then it goes all campy silly when the death scene happens.
Oh man, yeah, no, it should. Yeah, it seems so. Well, they didn't show it. The death sequence that was in the teaser wasn't in this trailer. If not, I missed it. And that I think was in a tattoo shop, or no,
Okay.
or a store. Was it a tattoo shop? Yeah, no, it was a tattoo shop. That one looked cool.
Nice.
So yeah, but that wasn't in this trailer. If I'm, we only watched it the once, but I don't think I saw it. I do like the idea of like, you don't want to repeat things, but little homages, like, having the like little fake out, like having the log truck was kind of cool. And there were a couple of shots that were very familiar, like when they were falling from the tower, it kind of looked like some of the falls during the bridge scene in 5. Like little things, here and there. I noticed for little homages. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm in. I've seen, definitely. I think, every one in theaters with not the first 2. I think starting with 3. I think I saw them all in theaters.
Nice.
I think the first 2 I was a little too. It just missed me age-wise.
Yeah, these were all home video watches for me. I think I've rented every one of these Final Destination films have been like a rent kind of thing, or watched it on TV.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. I remember even getting like a triple pack at like Costco or something, and then they had like 1, 2, and 3 all together in like a box. But yeah, so that Final Destination Bloodlines coming out in May. And I already closed the tab, but May something. Next piece is, like, I had to cover this. We've got our first bit of news related to the characters that are going to be appearing in the Buffy reboot. So we're going to get a new trio, similar to Buffy, Willow, and Xander. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to reprise her role. I don't know if she's going to be a watcher type person. Did you watch the series?
I've seen parts of it. My wife has seen every. My wife's seen every episode. Me, I've seen, I want to say, like a good amount of the first 2 seasons, but then after that, it's just kind of spotty. Like here and there, I've seen parts.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil too much for you, but so obviously, the whole gimmick is one Slayer in every generation. One Slayer dies, the next one's born. There's stuff throughout the series that explains why new Slayers can be a thing. If you watch season 2, then maybe you saw Kendra. I don't know. Obviously, we know Eliza Dushku is in it. This Fate. So we know there's other Slayers. So this is much of a spoiler for you. So I imagine that maybe like by the end of the series, she's maybe training new Slayers. Obviously, there's a big thing that happens at the end of the series that I won't spoil. But there's a lot that they can work with. The comics ran with it when that came out to continue the series. I don't think they're going to consider the comics canon. That's a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah,
to take whatever it was, however many years of comics and like consider that too much happened. Just most people haven't read it. Just start fresh from the show. So we have our first, and I don't know if these are going to be placeholder names, but we have Nova, who is going to be our lead. She is more akin to Willow as far as like, smart, but of a bit of a loner. So more Willow than Buffy. And then Hugo, which is going to be an out and proud nerd. So I like that they're going to have a queer character. And granted, this isn't the show's fault because it was the 90s. So, they had they had a lot of different red tape to get through. But I do like that we're going to have queer characters like season 1 from the beginning. We're not going to wait 4 years for a coming out story. So you're going to have this friend Hugo, and then you're going to have Gracie, who is a young vampire expert, who is an acolyte of Buffy. So, so sort of what happens by the end of the series is that, Slayers were kind of out of the coffin. Vampires are out of the coffin, and more people kind of know what's going on. So, it's going to be interesting. So now we are in this like post original series world. The supernatural is a little more known. It's a little more mainstream. There's more Slayers out there. So I'd be curious to sort of see like how these 3 work together. Do they know each other? Are they going to be meeting in the pilot, kind of similar to how Buffy met her friends in the pilot? or do they already know each other? You know, so and is it going to happen in Sunnydale? I almost like hope not, because the cool thing in the comics was that I don't know if I want to spoil it, but anyway, Sunnydale isn't looking too good by the end of the series. And they visit Sunnydale in the comics, and sort of like that is its own thing, and it's its own plot point. And I hope they sort of pick up from that, and they don't sort of rebuild it right away. You know,
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool because, like you said, even if they don't pull out straight storylines from the comics, they can still, like you said, do references or homages or have story beats that match the comics. And, you know, just as fans who are really deep into that, they'll be like, oh, yeah, they know. They know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because season 8 of the comics, like the first season of the comics, but season 8, because, you know, it kind of just picked up the same numbering from season 7 from the show. So season 8 of the comics was a hot mess. They sort of, they were too big for their britches. They were like, oh, we don't have a budget. We can do whatever we want. And that kind of worked against them, because I think they were like, oh, what can we do that we couldn't do on the show? Let's get crazy. And I think they got too crazy, where it felt so not grounded in what made the show special, which was the smaller character moments, the intimate and really poignant storylines. So when they got to season 9 of the comics, they kind of recalibrated, made it character and story first, and then kind of the craziness came from that.
Okay.
And they tackled a lot of issues. I mean, because that's what Buffy was. They took like supernatural metaphors for like real life issues. So, you know, they tackled the abortion issue. They tackled like grief. They've tackled like so much stuff. And then it got really good by the end of it. So seasons like 9, 10, 11, and 12 were like great. Nice. You know, and so I hope they can kind of like, you know, pay homage, like you said, and then maybe like pull some of those strings from the comics, and but make it their own.
Oh yeah, it's cool too, because like I said, it's been such a long gap now since like we've had Buffy content, that now there's a lot of other aspects of things they could focus on in life that kind of, you know, like you said, we had the whole social media thing, anxiety, being in the public eye, which something they can do when they're focusing on now. It's a world that knows of vampires. You know, how do we handle that? How does, you know, society actually take that? You know, there's a lot of things to play with when it comes to this show. So it's going to be very exciting.
And so more of the team was also discussed. So the showrunners behind Poker Face are going to be in Poker Face. As you watch that, I think it's on Peacock.
I haven't seen that one. No, yeah.
So it's great. It's with Natasha Lyonne, the redhead with the smoker voice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a great show. It's funny. It's sort of like mystery of the week kind of stuff. And she's on the run. And then she's always like running into like murder mysteries.
Oh, okay. I think my mom watched the first season, so I caught a couple episodes of that, so I know what you're talking about. But yeah, because I remember she was like a hot commodity for a minute. She kind of came back and was everywhere for a minute. Everybody was grabbing her up.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, the show's great. So I know that they can do good stuff, the Zuckermans, and then Chloe Zhao is going to be executive producer. She, you know, directed the Academy Award-winning Nomadland, and Eternals from the Marvel universe. And say what you will about the Eternals, people didn't like it. I loved it. It was like the most beautiful of like the MCU films. I mean, it was.
You liked it?
Stunning. I mean, I liked it a lot. I thought it was. I mean, people have such weird parameters for like what they think makes a good Marvel movie, right? It has to have a bigger consequence. It has to move the bigger story forward. Now, like it was we focused on like this group of people. It was its own thing. It had stuff that eventually, you know, trickled into the other things, but I thought it was great. But and just stunning. It was just beautiful to look at. So she's a great director. So I think it's in the hands of a good team. I mean, obviously, Sarah Michelle Gellar understands the character, and she's producing this series. I forgot who I was talking to about it, though. I do hope they give the seasons enough episodes, because Buffy sort of perfected the Monster of the Week format, where it was like one of the class, right? You think of like Buffy, X-Files, Supernatural, right? Like these like OG like Monster of the Week kind of, and, you know, and then you had your mythology episodes and you had your monster episodes. And I don't want the show to have like a 10 episode season where they're rushing through the mythology and maybe you get 3 monsters and that's it. You know what I mean? Like I would love for them to have at least 12 episodes, because that's what the first season was.
Yeah.
You know,
I missed shows like that for real. Yeah, I miss TV show. I miss seasons and shows like that where they actually had, like said, a good amount of episodes. Because now it seems like it's basically 6 or 8, and even though they're like hour-long episodes, a lot of times, you know what I mean. The shows nowadays, they're shrinking the seasons.
I mean, because the studios throw so much money at these shows, and like, yeah, they look good, and every episode looks like a movie, but you know, we're getting maybe quality over quantity, kind of, but like, you know, I think there's something to be said for like being able to check in with a show week to week, and you have something to look forward to, and even if it's not the most polished thing in the world, like, I mean, hell, the original show was not the most polished thing ever. It had its quirky charm. I mean, people in rubber suits and like crazy effects that, like, you know, it didn't look amazing all the time, but it was still fun and you enjoyed it, right? So I hope they don't, you know, I don't know, throw too much money at it, and you know, they only give us like 8 episodes, and you know, don't treat it like a Marvel show or treat it like an HBO show. It doesn't have to be that. It can just be Buffy, you know?
Yeah, we definitely, there's a lot of room for, you know, as I said, improvement. I'm a little nervous, like you said, for some things, but I don't think they're going to drop the ball. I think this is going to be something that is going to land with majority of fans. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to drop the ball heavily.
No, I don't think so. I have faith in this team, and you know, apparently, you know, Chloe's idea was strong enough to bring Sarah back, and they were like, "All right, let's do this." So I believe in them. I don't think Sarah would let us down. I don't think Chloe would, or you know, I don't think this team will. So yeah, but Final Destination, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Two big, you know, icons of the horror genre. Let us know what you think about the trailers, the Buffy news. What are your you have concerns? Are you excited? And you know, don't forget to do all the subscribing, leave a comment, follow Lauren.
We appreciate
you
all
got
of
anything
it.
coming up?
Oh yeah, we have like I said, more Courage the Cowardly Dog deep dive. We got to finish off season 4, and then
we have 2 or 3 episodes left of that deep dive, and that's it. We've got we only have like 6 episodes of the show left, and then the movie, and that's it. We're so close to the end, and I don't want it to end.
Yeah, that's probably why we're stalling a lot too. Is just because life, but yeah, it is kind of sentimental when you get towards the end of something, because it's been such a long journey talking about the show and everything. So yeah, the Courage the Cowardly Dog deep dives are very excited for those coming up.
Yeah, and then as always, you know, we're the Coffee Crypt. Come check us out here at Voices from the Mausoleum. Yeah, that's all we got for you today. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.